Okay, so are you ready to like dive into this whole like lunchly thing?
Oh yeah, let's unpack this whole food fight.
Because it is a food fight.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I feel like this is one of those things where it's gotten so much attention online and it's kind of like exploded and like everyone's talking about it.
It really has taken the internet by storm.
So for this deep dive, we're going to be looking at this episode of Controversy Unpacked, which is a podcast that just like looks at all these like big controversies and like unpacks them, kind of like what we're doing right now.
Meta.
And this whole Lunchly thing, it's like fascinating because you've got these huge YouTubers, MrBeast, Logan Paul, KSI, all teaming up to launch this like healthier Lunchables.
Right, trying to capture that like nostalgia, but with a so-called healthy twist.
But then it all goes so wrong.
Moldy meals, viral memes, and like a real wake-up call for influencer brands. I think this is going to be a fascinating deep dive.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're going to get to, like what went wrong, why it matters, and also like what can we learn from all of this.
Yeah. Right, what can we take away as consumers from this whole debacle?
So to set the stage,
Yeah.
Lunchly launches, and it's marketed as this like convenient, healthier alternative to Lunchables, which is like this like childhood staple for so many people.
Right, and there's that whole like convenience factor that parents are looking for, especially with like busy schedules and trying to get kids to eat something that's not, you know, completely terrible for them.
Yeah. So it seems like a good idea on paper, but then things take a turn.
Yeah, a pretty nasty term.
When YouTuber Rosanna Pansino posts on social media about finding mold in her Lunchly kit, and she's like not holding back. She calls it dangerous tags to the FDA.
Yeah, her post just blew up online. Millions of views, people freaking out, especially parents.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, like food safety in kids, like that's a recipe for disaster.
No pun intended.
I mean, it's like a nightmare scenario for parents. Like you think you're getting this like healthier option and then bam, mold.
And you know what's interesting is that alongside all the outrage and concern, there's this like parallel reaction online of like dark humor.
Oh, yeah. Like the memes were everywhere.
Oh my God, the memes were out of control, like Lunchly, mold for every bite.
And like Lunchly, a gourmet choice for adventurous palates.
It's like the internet just couldn't resist turning this whole thing into a meme fest.
It's like this coping mechanism, like we laugh so we don't cry.
Exactly.
So amidst all of this chaos, Lunchly does issue a response, right?
Yeah, they released a statement, emphasizing their quality control procedures and suggesting that maybe the mold was due to like improper storage.
But like, come on, improper storage. How many people are storing their Lunchables wrong?
Right, like it didn't really convince anyone.
Plus, like, I remember reading some people saying that, they had followed the storage instructions to a T and still found mold.
Yeah, their response didn't really extinguish the flames of internet outrage.
Not at all.
So on top of the whole like mold issue, people also started criticizing the creators like MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI, for maybe prioritizing profit over quality.
Right, and for those, like, healthier claims, because, like, how healthy can these prepackaged processed meals really be?
Yeah, that was a big point of contention. A lot of people were skeptical of the whole healthier angle.
Especially since MrBeast had been, like, publicly defending Lunchly, saying it was a better option than traditional Lunchables.
Yeah, he made some pretty bold statements about the quality of the ingredients.
But what do, like, actual experts have to say about that?
Well, the experts interviewed on Controversy Unpacked, they weren't really buying it.
Really?
Yeah, they were like skeptical about those claims, and they pointed out that even if Lunchly uses like slightly better ingredients, the core issue remains the same.
Which is
That these are still ultra-processed foods and, not exactly the most nutritious choice.
yeah, that makes sense.
Like one nutritionist on the podcast even said, calling a slightly less sugary processed meal healthy is like calling a cigarette with a filter safe.
Oof, that's a powerful analogy.
Right, so basically even if Lunchly is technically like slightly less processed than Lunchables, it's still not a health food.
Got it. So, like, it's not really about which one is less bad. It's more about, like, maybe we shouldn't be relying on these types of foods as, like, staples in our diet.
Exactly.
And, like, I think this whole situation, it really highlights the challenges that influencer brands face.
Totally, because they're built on this foundation of trust and authenticity.
Right, like, people follow these influencers because they like them, they trust their recommendations.
Exactly. So when they branch out into products, especially food, there's this higher expectation of transparency and quality.
It's like their reputation is on the line with every product they put out.
And any misstep like this moldy meal fiasco can really damage that trust.
So it's like a double-edged sword, right? Like they have this huge platform and reach, but they're also under intense scrutiny.
Absolutely. And that's something that all influencer brands need to be mindful of.
Okay, so beyond the mold, the memes, and the influencer brand drama, like, what's the big takeaway here for us as consumers?
Well, I think it's a reminder to be more discerning about the products we buy and the claims that are made about them.
Like, don't just blindly trust labels or influencer endorsements.
Right. Do your research, read reviews, and think critically about what you're putting into your body.
And like, especially when it comes to food that's marketed to kids.
Absolutely, because they're the most vulnerable.
Because like in the end, this whole Lunchly saga, it's not just about moldy meals. It's about food safety transparency and holding companies accountable.
Yeah, and it's about remembering that as consumers, we have power
Power to.
to demand better, to choose products that align with our values, and to hold brands accountable for their actions.
So like, how much weight do you personally put on influencer endorsements,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like health and well-being?
That's a great question, and I think it's something we all need to consider carefully.
Because in this age of social media, it's so easy to be influenced by what we see online.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, so it's important to be critical, to do our own research, and to make informed decisions.
Absolutely. Don't just blindly follow the hype. Think for yourself.
All right, so that's our deep dive into the Lunchly controversy, a story of moldy meals, viral memes, and the challenges of influencer brands.
It's been a wild ride.
It has, and it leaves us with a lot to think about.
Food for thought, literally.
Until next time, stay informed, stay critical, and stay hungry for knowledge.
And maybe skip the prepackaged meals.
Probably a good idea.